Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to your Daily Bite live stream podcast. Good morning. Come on in. Good morning. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I think you're going to enjoy today's topic. We have a very good discussional topic today. Go ahead, come on in, and we'll talk about today's topic. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Stu. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the Daily Bite podcast live stream. Good morning. Come on in. Where are you watching from? Let us know where you're watching from today. I will start the conversation here in just a moment. We get some more people coming in. Good morning, Simply Me. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Daily Bite live stream podcast, where you can be a part of the podcast, shape the topics. You can go to the website, choose your topic package, and come in and be a part of the conversation. Come on in this morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Monty. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning, Rennie. Good to see you. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. Where are you joining us from? Good morning, Diana. We will start this conversation as soon as we have more viewers coming in. I have to get a different pair of glasses. Those are just a little too strong for me. We're going to have to go to the other ones, which I left out in my kitchen. So come with me. Good morning. Good morning. Say hello. Tell us where you're joining from, or say good morning, however it works best for you. Don't be shy. This is a live stream open podcast. This is where you get to get your questions answered and you get to be a part of the podcast. So good morning, Irish Medina. Good morning, Brenda. Good morning, everyone. Grab a drink. Come on in. Let's have a conversation. All right. So today's topic, you're going to love this topic today. The new food pyramid, inflammation, and the diseases we're creating next. The new food pyramid came out, and you knew I was going to have this conversation today. Why would I not? All right. Good morning, Joel. Welcome. Welcome. Hope everyone's having a beautiful Thursday. Hope you guys enjoyed this morning's Daily Bite tidbit that was put out for you this morning at 9 a.m. Good morning, Lack. Good morning. Welcome. Grab a drink, pull up a chair, and join the conversation. All right, let's go ahead. It's 5 after. I don't want to wait any longer. Good morning. Good morning, Jordan. Good morning. All right, so let me give you a little rundown of how this podcast live stream works. If you would like to be a part of the podcast, be a part of the conversation, you can go up at the top. You can click on that link. You can choose your priority question and come in on your scheduled day and time. Good morning, Nurse Adler. Good morning, Guy. Good morning. Welcome. Hope everyone's having a beautiful morning out there. It is a cloudy Thursday. Again, as I was saying, good morning. That's Char. If you'd like to come in on our daily stream, of our podcast, which is out here every day at 10 a.m., you can go to the link up there. You can choose your priority package of question. And then you can come in and we will discuss your question. It will be the topic for the day. That gives you shout outs, that gives you callbacks with me for a 30-minute coaching session. You also have an opportunity to come on here and have a live coaching session with me, if you so choose. So go up there, choose your priority question package, and come on in. Good morning, Luz. Good morning, Heart 123. Good morning. Go in there and choose your package question. Come in and shape the topics that we are having here at the Daily Bite Podcast. Today's topic is about the food pyramid, inflammation, and the diseases we're causing next with this latest food pyramid. So you can be a part of the conversation in the comments. You can go ahead, come in those comments. Here's what I do when I'm out here, guys. If you are giving me information in the comments that notates that you're a part of this conversation and you're staying on topic with the conversation, I will bring you on and we can have that conversation. But if that's not the case, I won't bring you on. So don't ask. All right. Good morning, Sourdough. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, McCain's. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Daily Bite Podcast, where I'm here every morning at 10 a.m. At 9 a.m., you have a Daily Bite of education that comes out to you every morning at 9 a.m. I follow up that Daily Bite with this live podcast at 10 a.m. I'm always back at 1 p.m. as well. This is all Central Time. Good morning, Carmen. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. It's so beautiful to see everyone this morning. I'm seeing some of my super fans in here. Good morning. Oh, I love it. Good morning. Welcome back. All right, let's get on topic today with this conversation. So we're talking about the new food pyramid, inflammation, and the disease process that we are now causing with this new food pyramid. So welcome back, everyone. Today's conversation, it matters. You know it does. Not because it's trending, but because it affects every single one of you guys. Every single one of us. Everyone who eats food, this conversation affects. So welcome back. Today we're talking about the new food pyramid. That is what our discussion is today and what it tells us about where our health policies are headed. That is our conversation today. So because when you look closely at this pyramid, what it promotes is not promoting prevention. That is what it does not promote. So good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Paula. Good morning. Good morning, Tasha. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Good morning. I'm so happy to see everyone this morning. All right. So we're talking about the new food pyramid, the inflammation that it's going to cause, and the new disease processes that it will now inflict upon us. So good morning, Josh. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Missy. Good morning. So the thing of it is that inflammation is the common denominator, right? Behind nearly every chronic disease that we have out here today. Good morning, Sophie. Good morning, Christina. It's so nice to see everyone. Good morning, Lana. I try to shout out everyone. Good morning, Mom being Mom. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. All right. So again, we're talking about the new food pyramid that's out. Grab a drink, pull up a chair. Have this conversation with me this morning. All right. The updated food pyramid. I want to hear your thoughts. Get in this conversation. I want to hear your thoughts this morning. Did you even realize that there was a new food pyramid that was announced yesterday out of our infamous RFK? And no, I'm not a fan of that man. Many reasons why, but that's too political to get in here on that one. We're not doing that today. The updated food pyramid places animal protein and saturated fat. Animal protein is loaded in saturated fat. That is the top of the food pyramid. Yes, that is what we did. Now, here's the thing. I'm not against animal protein in the, in that department. Yes, I'm vegan, but that's neither here nor there. We need to promote more of the plant-based protein for sure, because that has less saturated fat than your animal protein. Your animal protein is loaded with saturated fat. What does that do? Well, that clogs the carotid arteries, that causes cardiovascular disease. It also causes harsher digestion issues with our body. And here's the biggest thing. When you are loaded with saturated fat, you're actually drying out the brain, which then gives us what? Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. So the more saturated fat that's in your body, the more you are drying out your brain. That is a huge concern with this new food pyramid that's out. I'm not against animal protein. I'm saying what they have not addressed in that pyramid is how to actually utilize that pyramid in its best optimal way. Okay? So again, animal protein loaded with saturated fat. Pork loaded with salt. Pork is naturally loaded with salt. Pork will raise your blood pressure when eaten consistently over a very short period of time. So the more pork you eat, the more prone you are to high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. So these are the things that are, the education is what is not out here on the new food pyramid. And that is why I am here. I am here to speak upon that because that is not, it's not getting addressed. It's not getting spoken upon. It's just laid out here and said, this is our new food pyramid. This is the way you should have been eating all along. But it's actually not. It's still not where it needs to be. It's a great step in that direction, but the new food pyramid is not still the best that it could be. There are so many different ways that we could design that food pyramid to make it much healthier, much better. The problem I have with this food pyramid above all is that we did not bring farmers back to the table in the discussion. Now they're going to say they did because they've listed animal protein as the biggest source of your daily consumption. And again, animal protein loaded in saturated fat. And the more you are highly saturated in fat, the more you're going to dry out your brain. It will dry out your brain, causing Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. So, dementia, all the above. So the more you can, thank you guys so much for your support in the fan club. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Heart me. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you. The more that you sit here in saturated fat. Now, how do I know I'm loaded in saturated fat? Well, doctors would like for you to believe that you're going to know by your cholesterol levels. That's how they would like for you to know. But here is how you really know. One of these tests will tell you exactly how saturated in fat you are. I cannot keep this up here for very long because TikTok will stream me down because it's not their product. This is a test that you can take in home that you can get to see how highly saturated you are in fat. Like I said, doctors would like for you to believe that you can just take a cholesterol test and that's going to tell you how bad you are saturated in fat. That is not the case. This is an 11-panel fatty acid test. And it will tell you exactly how saturated you are. So 7 years ago when I took the test, I was 43.3 to 1 ratio saturated fat. That is horrible. You're supposed to be 3 to 1. Yes. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. So I am now a 3 to 1. It took me less than 90 days to get there once I made the changes that I needed to make. I was headed for a stroke. And what's the funny part is that right before I took that test, I had just had my annual blood work done. And they said that everything looked great. Cholesterol was great, no issues, no concerns. Didn't look like there was any concerns for the past history that I had of 7 mini strokes, which are called TIAs. And with that being said, when I brought that test into my doctor and showed her that, here's the first words out of her mouth. Where did you get that test? How did you get that test? You want to know why? Because you can't get that test unless you pay over $1,200 for the test. And you have to have a diagnosis that is to the richest of its value for them to even issue that kind of test. But a company out of Norway, Sweden was capable of making this test. Poke your finger, do it from home, get your test results through the email, and find out how saturated in fat you really are. And if you've got any kind of omega-3 fatty acids in your body at all. So, and not only that, it tells you if your brain is protected or if it's not protected. So, I digress. Let's get back onto this food pyramid and the inflammation and diseases that it's going to now cause, because it has shifted the disease process. What I love even more so is that the American Heart Association had something to say about the food pyramid, and they're not liking it either, which is interesting. You know, because the American Heart Association is backed by a lot of your major food companies. So their studies that they do by Coca-Cola, it's backed by, yeah, it is. A lot of their studies at the American Heart Association is backed by Coca-Cola, which will kind of redefine how that study goes. Go do your research. All right, so I want to be very clear about something. Protein itself, that's not the enemy here, okay? That is not the enemy. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here. Today's topic is regarding the food pyramid, the new food pyramid that's out, the inflammation that it's causing, the discussions that haven't been had, the education that is not taking place. I'm here today to give you that. So stay right here because we are going to continue to be in this engaged conversation. So if you're here, please engage in conversation. It will benefit you and it will benefit so many others here today. All right, so again, protein itself is not the enemy. Food is not the enemy. But the context is what matters, okay? And this food pyramid removes the context entirely, okay? It is not distinguish how animals are raised. Okay, there's that conversation hasn't happened. What those animals are fed, it didn't take a part into that conversation. The inflammatory difference between industrial meat and pasture-raised foods, that conversation didn't happen. Or how saturated fat behaves in the body when consumed in excess. And believe me, the food pyramid really redefined how that animal protein should be consumed in several ways, but it didn't discuss the major points that need to be addressed, which is, again, how are these animals being raised? What kind of hormones are being injected into them? How are the pastures out, currently out there with what chemicals are on those pastures? Organic, not organic. Range-free, not range-free. What those animals are fed, that wasn't discussed. These are all serious questions that we need to be asking our nice little RFK man out here. Does beg a question. All right, let's talk about the missing conversation. So, we cannot talk about food without talking about inflammation. Like I said, inflammation is the major reason for our chronic illnesses and disease to date. And let's talk about this. Inflammation is not about pain or swelling, okay? Inflammation is the cellular damage. That is what we're talking about, the cellular damage. Damage to the blood vessels, damage to insulin signaling, damage to mitochondrial energy production. Excuse me, guys. Damage to the brain. We have rain moving in, so it's really messing with my sinuses today. I apologize. When inflammation becomes chronic, it becomes disease thriving. And this is what the new food pyramid has encouraged. by not clearing out the definition to how this food pyramid is to really be laid out. This is causing further damage to our people. Okay? We're not talking about processed foods. We're not talking about ultra-processed foods. Why are we not? There was a little blurb in the direction of this new food pyramid stating, that processed foods still need to be at a minimal capacity. And yet all of our food in stores is processed. Just saying. It wasn't addressed, probably won't be addressed. We didn't bring farmers back to the table for this conversation. That's another concern that I have. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the fan club. I am so grateful. Thank you, thank you. All right. All right, and if you're a super fan already, I appreciate you. And again, if you've already subscribed here, you guys already know all the goodies that you get with your subscription. So very grateful that you're here. So grateful. So thank you for joining me today. Good morning, everyone. All right, let's talk about saturated fat and systemic damage. Let's talk about that. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. This morning's topic, again, is about our new food pyramid, the inflammation and disease processes that we will now encounter from this new pyramid. We're here to educate you today. Have this conversation. Be engaged. We love having you here. All right, so a diet high in saturated fat, especially from industrial animal products, that associates with increased LDL oxidation. That is also plaque formation in the arteries. Remember our carotid arteries right here that get so jam-packed with all the saturated fat that comes in from all the stuff we eat, especially animal protein. Endothelial dysfunction. That is another issue with high saturated fat diets. Insulin resistance. Diabetes is the conversation everywhere you go. Increased inflammatory markers. Absolutely. Now, this doesn't mean that saturated fat must be eliminated. That's not what we're talking about here. I am absolutely not talking about eliminating saturated fat. You have to have a healthy balance. That balance is 3 omega-3 fatty acids to 1 saturated fat. You must have 3 omega fatty acids to 1 saturated fat. So omega-3 fatty acids actually go in and nourish the brain. It goes in and heals that brain. It gives it the nourishment, the softness that it needs. Saturated fat goes in and dries out the brain, giving us Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. So when you continue to eat saturated fat over and over in your diet, you are drying out the brain and its process. Omega-3 fatty acids must be 3 omega-3 fatty acids to 1 saturated fat. And how do you know that? This is a simple test that you can take at home. It's called a balance test. You can take this. It will tell you what your ratio is when you take this test in your home. It's a very simple test. Comes to your home, poke your finger, drop 2 little drops of blood on the card, send it off. 7 days, you'll have your information. Comes right back to you. All right, let's talk about omega-3s. Why omega-3s were never centered. Okay, let's talk about it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. Good morning, Chuck the Jeweler. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I absolutely enjoy it. Guys, if you haven't checked out Chuck the Jeweler, go do so. You need to do that. He's an amazing jeweler. All right, guys, let's talk about this hard question. Why did we never center omega-3 fatty acids in national nutrition education? Why have we not made omega-3 fatty acids the central conversation in our nutrition? Why is that? There's so many reasons. All right, omega-3s reduce neural inflammation. I just talked about this with the brain. Protect cognitive function. Omega-3s improve cardiovascular health. okay? They regulate the immune response. We must have 3 omega-3 fatty acids to 1 saturated fat. It needs to be a 3-to-1 ratio. You must have much less saturated fat. You must have more omega-3 fatty acids, which is why I teach the plate method, how to plate your food. So I teach the plate method, I teach the HALT method. So if you'd like to know more about that, you can come to the Daily Plate tomorrow at 11 a.m. Join the Daily Plate, be a part of that conversation, learn how to do healthier, be healthier, what foods work for you, what foods don't work for you. Jump in on that conversation tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. at the Daily Plate. Why were omega-3s not emphasized decades ago? Why does anyone think that omega-3s were not emphasized many years ago, especially with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's? You know, those rates have just exploded. Dementia, it has been unreal, the numbers that have been coming out with Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, dementia. And yet we know that omega-3 fatty acids are what is necessary to keep our neural inflammation health, our cognitive function, our cardiovascular health, our immune response system. We need omega-3 fatty acids in order to protect the body. You need a 3-to-1 ratio. That's 3 omega fatty acids to 1 saturated fat. Why? Because saturated fat dries the brain. It dries it up and stops the functioning. It kills those nerve endings little by little by little. The more you're highly saturated in fat, the more likelihood you will have Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And if you're already predisposed via family prior, this is a great conversation for you. So how do I know that I am highly saturated in fat? You can take a test right here. It comes to your home. It's called a balance test. This test can come directly to your home. You can take that test and you can find out just how saturated you are. Doctors would like for you to believe that you only need the cholesterol test to really see how saturated you are, right? To see how clogged these arteries are. Do you have your high cholesterol? Blah, blah, blah. That's a blah, blah, okay? I like to look at doctors and go blah, 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 because that's what I do. Bottom line, they speak what they're told to speak. That's the bottom line. That is how they make doctoring the business that it is today. All right? We want to prevent. We want to treat naturally, and we want to heal. That is what we're talking about here. If you want to be a part of this conversation, jump into this conversation. Give us your thoughts. Let us have this discussion today. Today's topic is about the food pyramid, the inflammation it will now cause due to the new structure, and the new disease processes that we will be looking at here in the very near future when people take this food pyramid as the God it has been written out to be. My question is why wasn't prevention the priority in this food pyramid? That's what I want to know. I want to know also why farmers were not brought back to the table for the discussion. Because if you've been here at all, you know I am a cancer survivor. 12 years ago, I collapsed on the nursing floor. I was taken to the hospital. I was put, at ease at the time. They came in and said, Michelle, there's nothing more we can do for you. We're going to put you on palliative care and we're going to transition you to hospice care as time goes. And of course, Michelle, what happens after that? You should just make funeral arrangements because that would be the best thing for your family. 3 of my 5 oncologists told me that. Yep, make funeral arrangements, Michelle. So my husband had nicely, neatly packaged up my 19 medications in a Walmart bag. And I picked up that Walmart bag and I threw it at those 3 doctors. And I ripped my IV out of my arm. And I said, give me my AMA paperwork. I am out of here and I will never be back. I said, God will either heal me or he'll take me. Guess what, guys? We're 11 years cancer-free. January 14th, 2014 is the day today. on this month right here. I mean, on January 14th, we will be having a party. So make sure you're right here because we're going to have a party. We're going to celebrate 11 years cancer-free. So come back on the 14th. Make sure you're here every day because we're going to lead up to that party. These conversations are going to lead up to that party. So come and be a part of that party with us on the 14th as I celebrate 11 years cancer-free on that day. All right, let's talk about the disease pipeline that we are feeding. And again, we are talking about the new food pyramid that has been laid out by our infamous RFK. All right, the pyramid, it doesn't protect we Americans from heart disease. It doesn't protect us from type 2 diabetes. It doesn't protect us from our autoimmune conditions. It doesn't protect us from fatty liver disease. If anything, it actually promotes more fatty liver disease. And it definitely does not protect us from the Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or hormonal dysfunction. And it doesn't protect us from chronic fatigue and brain fog. None of that was in any of the conversation that was laid out with the new food pyramid. There was nothing about prevention. There was nothing about healing. It was animal protein, right off the bat, animal protein. Right away, animal protein. That's what you need to be consuming. Instead, it normalizes the very dietary patterns that fuel all of these conditions that I just labeled out. This is a huge concern. We did not bring farmers back to the table, which is what I was hoping for. I was really hoping that if we were going to make any kind of changes whatsoever, your infamous Cali Means out here and RFK buddying up like they are, you would have thought that they would have went back to the farmers and said, hey, this is the best decision that we can make. What can we do to bring you back to the table? And we didn't do that. We left them out again, once again. Let's talk about the silence on processed food. And I'm going to tell you the most concerning part. We didn't address seed oils. We didn't address artificial preservatives. We didn't address chemical stabilizers. We didn't address synthetic dyes. We didn't address ultra-refined carbs. None of this was addressed in our new food pyramid. And these foods are the biggest drivers of inflammation. And none of this was addressed in that food pyramid. And yet, they still remain untouched. That conversation just isn't happening. Why is that? Highly concerned. Highly concerned. So let's talk about where our farmers should be. They should be the solution to this food pyramid. That's exactly where our farmers should be. They should be the solution to our new food pyramid. Healthy soil produces higher mineral content, better fatty acid profiles, improved gut integrity, and reduced inflammation. That's the conversation that we should be having. How to heal from our food and get our people healthy again. How to treat with our food and quit with the business of medication and doctors. We need to be preventing and speaking and educating. I'm only one voice. Only one voice. We need many more out here speaking. Farmers should be at the table, not corporations. Not at all. All right, let's talk about refining real food. Real food grows from the ground, right? Comes from healthy soil, is minimally processed. Minimally processed. Feeds the microbiome, which is huge. We need that. And regulates inflammation. Inflammation is the biggest issue out here to date because it is the major contributor to our chronic illness and disease. Inflammation is the biggest topic that we should have been discussing all along. Like I said, Cali Means is out here parading around, we're going to make a difference. We're going to make a difference. This new food pyramid, great conversation to have, still could have been better. It is not where it needs to be. And it does not bring the farmers back to the table, which is where I am hugely disappointed. All right, here's what the pyramid does teach. It teaches quantity It's not teaching quality. And that's even more disgusting today to even learn. All right, let's talk about what I teach here so you guys can have a better understanding. I don't teach food trends. I teach people how to heal inflammation at the root. That's what I do here. Because food's not just fuel, all right? Food is information. And when we understand that food is information to the body and our body speaks to us, our bodies speak to us every single moment of every single day. All right? I know that I've got sinus activity going on, and I know freshly squeezed orange juice is the best thing for that. How even more so do I know? My body is very receptive to it. I am craving this freshly squeezed orange juice like crazy because I need it for the sinus activity, because it's going to help thin the mucus as I drink it. It's going to thin the mucus. As you pull and suck this in, it pulls that mucus out and thins it with the vitamin C. This is why I'm here, to teach you, to show you, to remind you real food comes from the ground. And the information that we're giving Americans right now is very incomplete with this new food pyramid. So definitely not happy about this new food pyramid. It's a great start to some degree, and it's a horrible process in many other ways. Healing doesn't start in a pyramid, okay? It starts on your plate, which is why I teach the plate method. If you want to understand food, the effects of food, how it affects your body, your brain, your energy, your hormones, you need to be right here every single day at 10 a.m., right here on the Daily Bite. Do not miss the Daily Bite every single day at 10 a.m. Be a part of this conversation. Be a part of the community here. We have an amazing community. If you haven't subscribed, go do that. Go check that out. Because managing your systems, that's not health. Healing inflammation, that's health. We don't need another food pyramid. We didn't need another food pyramid. Sure, restructure it, put it out on a graphic, make it look great, whatever. But the bottom line is we need truth, we need transparency, we need real food education. That's what we need, and that's what I'm here for. That is what I'm here to bring you each and every day. So, all right, guys, if you have questions, let's get those in the comments. Let's get your questions answered. If you don't want to answer your questions here, great. I completely understand. Go up here and choose your priority question package that you would like to actually be a part of, shape the conversations here at the Daily Bite, or if you'd like a live coaching session, right there, go grab one of those packages for the live coaching session. You can come right here. We can get your coaching session going. You can be a part of this, shape these topics here each and every day. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I'll see you back tomorrow. Have a beautiful and wonderful day, everyone. That was your Daily Bite for today. Healing one bite at a time.